Hey guys, thanks for watching today. I have seen a lot of comments lately in some of the groups that I'm in about um, being a mom first and foremost, and how in the world you go to school wanting to do something better and something more with your life, but how do you juggle being a mom and going to school, or being a single parent and being in school, or how do you even go to school, or how do you make things work financially? If you're struggling in your present job and you want something more, or your bills are piling up and you're not sure what to do. Let's face it, a lot of us in this day and age, we have a big problem with trying to find a job that's suitable financially, where we can still take care of our children. That's just the reality of the situation. So, as with all my videos, my situation works for me and my family. It may not work for you, but again, it's just a possibility that may work for you. It may be helpful for you, but it may not be. And my solution and what works for me may not be the smartest way. It may not be the cheapest way. It may not be the most financially sound way. And like I said, it just may all around not work for you, or it may not be the best advice, but it worked for me. And like I said, for my family. And as far as that goes, it works. So I'll just let you know a little bit about myself and my background. I became a single parent basically in my second trimester. And I immediately needed a wonderful job. I loved what I did. I made in the mid 40s, working in Northern Virginia without a degree. I had my high school diploma, of course, but no formal college education. And so that pay level salary was exceptional for not only what I did, with also that a formal education. So I loved what I did, but I was pregnant and needed a way to be able to provide for my daughter and I. And my current job, although it paid well, with taxes and everything else, cost of living in Northern Virginia, it just wasn't going to work. And also, my job did not provide benefits. So I was not going to be afforded the opportunity to have health insurance or anything of that sort. And then in addition, I needed to have a lawyer and file for custody and all kinds of legal stuff with my partner in parenting. And with having the job that I did, even though making mid 40s sounds fantastic, when you're giving a third of that away in taxes every pay period, and then you have your bills to pay, you're not left with much of anything. And then I was paying for most of my prenatal care out of pocket. I was lucky to have the other half split it with me, but needless to say, again, at the end of the day, I didn't have a lot left over. So the only way for me to qualify for legal aid was basically not to be working anymore. So I knew in a nutshell that in order for me to qualify for much of anything, I would have to give up my job. So unfortunately for me, I had to quit working as soon as before I had my daughter. She was born February 2nd, and I quit working at the end of the year. So in December of 2013, I quit working, and she was born in February of 2014. So I took that month off to prepare for her birth, and then she was born, went through the process of doing all the legal stuff. And at that same time, I started classes at my local community college. I had never finished. I had taken some community college classes here and there throughout the years. I graduated in 2003, and you got to think now this was about 2013, 2014. So I'd taken some classes on and off, sometimes using financial aid, sometimes not. But I was able to finish my associate's degree in summer of 2016, utilizing financial aid and utilizing grants. And this is kind of where it gets important and tricky. I see a lot of moms asking, how do you do it financially? So first and foremost, you're going to want to fill out your FAFSA, which is your federal application for financial student aid or something like that. You want to fill it out. You want to fill it out honestly. If you're a single parent, at least in my situation, I had one dependent. All of my classes were paid for. That didn't cover books. That didn't cover living expenses, but the community college courses, I received enough in grants, which is money that is not paid back. It's basically free money, that my classes were paid for. And then obviously I was presented with a loan amount from the United States government, which is obviously money that has to be paid back. And then I would take out the maximum amount of loans that were presented to me, which again, that gets hairy because a lot of people will tell you that's a big time no-no and you don't want to take out the max amount. But if you're in a position like I am, where you live off of that, that's your income, that enables you to stay home, that enables you to care for your children. That's what you have to do, and you do what you have to do when you're a single parent. So I took out the maximum amount that I was given for my student loans through the government. I did not seek any financial aid or loans from any outside services. And that's really also very important because you can also get loans from your local bank. You can get loans from other departments, and you don't want to do that. Usually those have really high interest. They're tied to different assets of yours. It's just a big time no-no, and you really don't want to do that. And in my situation, I didn't need to. I didn't have the best credit. It didn't seem to matter. I don't know what they base the validity of the loans off of, but it didn't matter. I qualified for them. I took them out. And in conjunction with my child support, we lived off of that and were able to make it and support my daughter and go to college and better myself. I worked off and on during that period. I was able to work from home for a company like Amazon and some other places. So you kind of take the good with the bad, but most importantly, apply for your FAFSA. If you have time to seek out other scholarship opportunities where you can write like a one-page essay and submit them for $500 or $1,000, definitely take your time and submit for scholarships. I never did, and I wish I would have, because scholarships are additional money that you will not have to pay back. And basically, a financially professional will be able to help you better understand the big picture. But let's just say your classes cost $3,000 and you have $10,000 of aid coming your way. In a nutshell, what will happen is they will take the $3,000 out of that 10, and then the 7 that's remaining will get sent to you. And again, that's the kind of funding I use to live off of for 5 or 6 months until my next round for the next semester of financial aid came in. So you do have to budget. You have to be smart. I will have to pay that money back. It's not free, but it has enabled me to stay home with my daughter, to work both full-time and part-time. I graduated with honors, magna cum laude, last summer with my associate's degree. I'm not utilizing that degree right now at this time, but I obviously can in the future if I choose to. It's also setting a very good example for my daughter that no matter what adversities you may face, you can always go to school and better yourself and get your education. So if you find yourself stuck in a dead-end job, you're having a hard time financially, you just don't know how you're going to do it. I know for me, working and paying for full-time childcare just wasn't an option. It just didn't make any sense. Every dime I made would go right to childcare. So it just didn't make any sense for me. So going to school, like I said, enabled me to stay home with her, raise her, support her, better myself, and I'll deal with the repercussions of paying the loans back at a later time. And because they're government loans, they're income based. If I take a position down the road and my income is $2,000 a month, my repayment schedule is based off that income. You can qualify for income-based repayment. If you go to SunTrust and take out a loan, they don't much care what you make. If your payment's $500 a month, your payment's $500 a month, and you have to pay it. With the government and government loans, they're a little bit more flexible with your pay structure and how you repay those loans. that's basically how I did my associate's degree. There were times throughout that where I would have to go in person and take night classes. And when I did, I had to hire a sitter, and I would hire a nanny in the community to come to my home and care for my daughter once a week for 4 hours a week. And again, I would utilize that money that I got through my loans to pay for a sitter. In the grand scheme of things, obviously it was a worthwhile investment. It gave me a break. I was able to go out and socialize with other people pursuing the same interests as me. It was great for both my daughter and I. If you have family near you or friends that you trust, you can obviously utilize your family or friends. For me, I used a sitter. But in the meantime, if I only take one class in person at night that's needed, like a science with a lab, the other classes I could take online and not need a babysitter all the time. So it worked out perfectly, and I could afford it financially. Now, with my bachelor's degree, I am at a 4-year university, and because I've taken so many credits, now I'm actually a senior at Old Dominion, and I am taking all my courses online at the moment. I will tell you, it is 10 times harder for me. I am working part-time from home for a major military nonprofit, but I honestly am just so far behind. I'm just now getting caught up. We did just have a major work event for back to school, and that sucked a lot of my time and energy away. And I'm just now coming up for air. So I'm just now kind of getting ahead of the game and kind of finding my wits and finding my way. So it's not easy. It's certainly not easy. And when you pursue a higher level of education, the cost obviously goes up. So now my financial aid doesn't go as far. So where in the past, my classes were paid for entirely by grants the entire time, now my grants are going to cover one semester, and that's it. And then the rest of the semesters are going to be covered by student loans. So I'm not going to have as much money to live off of. But if you're somebody who's only pursuing a 2-year degree, or you just need something right now to get you by and you'll worry about the future later, pursuing your education is definitely an option. A really big pet peeve I have that you really should definitely understand is making sure that you're not going to a for-profit college. I cannot hammer it home that enough. Do not go to a for-profit college. If you see in your magazines, you've got flyers and pamphlets and inserts and commercials on TV, more than likely it's a for-profit university or a for-profit college. You can Google it, do some research. If they pursue you, it's more than likely for-profit, and you're going to want to stay far, far away. Why? Because they hand out degrees like they hand out bubblegum. It's much more expensive. The classes aren't as quality. Your degree is not as quality. Just take my word of advice. I know Barack Obama, when he was president last year, wanted to do away, or was moving in the direction of partially doing away with some for-profit colleges because they were so problematic. Don't quote me on all of that, but I would never recommend to my best friend or someone in my family to attend a for-profit university. So I would never recommend anyone I knew or anyone I didn't know to go to a for-profit university. So the most important things are: fill out your FAFSA, look for any kind of scholarship opportunities that you have, make sure you're not applying to any for-profit universities, get your applications in, get your FAFSAs in. And if you can work from home or have a part-time job on the side that makes sense for you, definitely do that. Look at the Forbes Top 100 list. We're in 2017 now, depending on when you're looking at the video. Forbes always puts out a top 100 list for that particular year of work from home businesses that are legitimate, like Amazon, like American Express, like Disney or Disney Travel. There's major corporations and businesses that hire work from home representatives that you can work for. Look for those opportunities. They're hard to come by because everybody wants to work from home, but it's definitely possible if you put your mind to it. So those would be my recommendations. It's possible. If you're a single parent, you know anything's possible. We'll do anything for our kids. We'll do anything to make something happen. You definitely can do it. You have to be disciplined. You have to work hard. And in another video, I'll talk to you guys a little bit about how I make it work and what I do to kind of focus and get things done. So hopefully that helps you guys with figuring out how you can get enrolled in school and get going and, try to do something a little bit different if you're struggling. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will happily help you. Have a great day.